In this video, we'll be talking about the assumptions map and workshop. Assumptions are things we believe to be true with little to no proof of them being true. Before spending too much time and money to create a minimal viable product, the product team should organize and validate these assumptions before diving into development. This is recommended for all companies, from tiny startups to large enterprises, to mitigate risk of releasing a product that doesn't have a market fit. It's easy to think, I would use this, so other people would use this too. Holding an assumptions workshop is the first step towards testing these hypotheses about your product. From the workshop, you'll create an assumptions map, and from the assumptions map, you'll create qualitative research questions. Before the session, identify the key stakeholders that would be valuable to map out the assumptions with. Also, prepare the materials, including a whiteboard, stickies, and markers. During the session, you should gather stakeholders for 60 to 90 minutes, distribute sticky notes and markers to the group. Tell stakeholders to write down all of the assumptions that they can think of on the sticky notes. It doesn't have to be perfect, so limit the sticky note brainstorming time to 10 to 15 minutes. Each participant should head up to the board, place their sticky notes on the board, and explain their rationale for each assumption. Following that, the facilitator should lead the discussion to organize the stickies into different quadrants. The vertical axis outlines the riskiness. Ask yourself the question, if this assumption is incorrect, will it be detrimental to the viability and success of my product? If so, place those assumptions on top, which captures risky assumptions. Any assumptions that are not risky to your product's success are placed on the bottom axis. Across the horizontal axis, the left side is assumptions that are difficult to validate. These assumptions will be challenging to prove true. The right side of the horizontal axis is the easy to validate assumptions. Let's walk through an example. Let's say you're building a meditation app and you want to test out your assumptions. The first assumption is that people want to meditate, and people want to use their phones to meditate. This is risky and easy to validate through qualitative and market research. A risky and difficult to validate assumption is that people will pay money for your meditation app. Regardless of how many people you ask, will you be willing to buy this app? When it comes down to actually buying the app, they may not want to part with their own wallets. An easy to validate and less risky assumption is that people want video content extras. This isn't consequential to your core product, but it will determine if it's worth creating a bunch of blogs and videos within your app. You can easily ask people if they read wellness content on a daily basis. A difficult to validate and less risky assumption is that people will track their daily stress levels. While your product can be successful without it, it would be a nice add-on if there's a market fit. Since there's no way to know for sure that someone will actually actively track their stress, it's more difficult to get a clear answer. Remember, these categories are subjective, and one assumption can be placed in multiple different quadrants. Following the session, collect all the sticky notes and record all the notes in a document. Next, you should take the stickies from the easy to validate and risky assumptions quadrant and create discussion questions for your qualitative research sessions. This way, you'll be able to test out your assumptions with participants to see if products or product line is worth pursuing. In essence, assumption mapping is a method to get actionable takeaways so that teams can successfully move their ideas forward. That's all on assumptions mapping. Hit that subscribe button for more insights on product and UX.